Welcome back to the channel for another circuit experience where we are trying to learn about braking points and driving lines in more detail, track by track. This week we are at Tokyo Expressway Central Outer Loop in the Subaru WRX Group 3 car. The aim of this video then is to impart some knowledge, or knowledge my kind of level, but hopefully you will take away something from this video, as I took something away from actually making this video as well, because obviously I got faster. So if you do enjoy the video, please leave it a like. If you are new, consider subscribing for more type of content. Every Monday we do one of these circuit experiences. So here we go, turn one, first tunnel with traction control system on. Let's see what time we can do. So this Tokyo track, like all the other Tokyo tracks, have walls on either side of the road, which makes it a big penalty threat, as it is very easy to pick up penalties when colliding with the wall. So coming through, it's just two rights, then a sweeping left up towards the finish line here. What's it going to be? A 22.886. Okay, so a 22.886 with traction control system. Let's take the TCS off and see what we can do. So let's have a little rundown of the section here. I also found that +2 on the rear brake bias actually helped with the car around the track, but I don't really know about brake bias. So first corner, then braking just before the little yellow piece of card there with the arrow on it, and then turning just as we go past it. You see the acceleration input on the side, feathering the throttle there, keeping it just under 50% until I know that I'm not going to hit the wall, even though I do hit the wall just a little bit, and we're on full power. No braking for this corner, just turning in nice and early with the yellow card on the left there again, hitting the apex and just believing that the car is going to keep in. You don't need to lift off, you don't need to stop turning, just turn in as hard as you can. Coming across the line then, a 22.788, so we took off a 10th on our time with traction control system. As we move on then to the second sector, which is just a very fast right, sort of over a crest into a blind right. Here we go then with traction control system on. What we're going to do here, coming up nice and easy, very important to keep momentum around this track. You see the traction control system just working a little bit there, maybe slowing us down just a tad, but that's going to be a 10.999 for the traction control system run through. After quite a few run throughs, I realised that I couldn't go through this corner in 6th gear without traction control system on. So just as we come under this bridge part here, shifting down to 5th gear, no braking needed, just going to use that engine brake as we change down a gear and then coast a little bit until we know it's safe to put on that full power, that full acceleration. So using coasting to our advantage there, a 10.914, so just under a 10th taken off there. As we move on then to quite a tricky section here, sector 3, I will say, as the traction control system run through plays in the background, that the difference between the TCS and the no TCS was pretty minimal in comparison to, say, Goodwood last week. But you can still see a slight difference, a slight increase in pace when you take that traction control system off. It may be very small, but when you're really trying to get those hundredths and thousandths of a second, it really does make a difference. As we come across the line then with a 21.604 for the TCS run through, and here we go then for the non-TCS, the vanilla. Let's see what happens. So once again, using the little yellow cards at the side of the track as markers for our braking and turning, braking just before it and then turning just as we go past it. A little bit of a coast, a little bit of a feather of the throttle as well, using these dotted lines, the hashed lines on the middle of the track as our time to brake. Turning in, making sure we get on the power mid-corner and running as wide as possible, as close to that wall as we can go, keeping our foot on the accelerator the whole way up, changing gear to 5th just as we come around that corner, making sure we turn in and keep close to the apex as we come across the finishing line. A 21.425, so around 2/10 gained on the traction control system run through there. Pretty good section, but we come on to the final section, sector 4, which is probably my weakest sector. It seems that every last sector on every track is my weakest. So the traction control system run through here. Still using that +2 brake bias, as there is a left-hand corner into a quick right and then a slightly tighter right-hand corner, which is very important to get a good run out as you run all the way to the finish line. So a 16.080. So a pretty clean run through there, no mistakes. Can we match it and better that with no traction control system? So coming into the first corner, using those yellow cards once again for our braking marker and our turn in markers, getting on the power mid-corner. I've said it once and I'll say it again, how early can you get on the power? Flat all the way up to the top, and just as we come past the big yellow sign on the left, we start braking and turning at the same time, coasting into the corner and getting on the power mid-corner once again, and a drag race to the line. It's going to be a 15.974, so taking off another 10th off the time there. So adding all of those tenths up over the sectors, we are actually over half a second quicker running no traction control system. As we come onto the lap then, you can see I've set a 1:14.188. This is without traction control, just seeing how fast we can go. I would love to get into the 1:13s. So coming here then on the power, nice. We've got the first sector pretty much down to a T, or as good as we can do it personally. As I said in the previous video, I would love to see what you guys can do as well. See if you can beat me. Add my username, my gamer tag, Jev_James, and then we can compare our times together. If you don't want to do that, put your time in the comments and let's start making this a little bit more competitive within the community. So coming into this section here, I think I pretty much nailed this coming through here early on the power, getting close to that wall like we said, changing gear around the same time. It all looks good, it all looks good, but we are coming into a very tricky section, and personally my weakest section on the track. So shifting down to fourth, get into the apex and on the power, nice and early, nice and smooth through there. Well done, James. Thank you, James. And the final corner, keeping it nice and tight towards the apex again and early on the power. It's a nice run to the finish, and it's going to be a 1:13.7. I am absolutely over the moon with that time. And once again, you can't help but compare yourself against the others. Two boys up front, look, Ignite and Unfazed, both putting in 1:12s. That is absolutely disgusting times. But look, if you add me, you can see your name up there as well if you, well, if you're fast. What I'm going to do as well in future circuit experience videos is I'm going to do an initial lap just to see our initial time around the track, and then see how much time we do take off as we go through this sort of practice session. So hopefully you'll see a little bit of improvement. Oh, a BMW Z4 GT3, I haven't got one of them yet. Sarcasm. But that's going to be it for this one. Thank you so much for watching, liking and subscribing. Thank you to the Jev Pit crew for doing what you do, and we'll see you in the next one.